All right, class. So here we're going to have a quick overview on loading Matlab in the virtual lab. First thing you want to do is go to myvlab.fgcu.edu. I'll put a link to this on the Canvas page as well for the lessons, and probably just on the main page for the course if I remember to do so. You have two options here. You can install the VMware client, or you can just use the HTML access. The HTML access tends to work fine, so I think if that one's working for you, it's easier than running the client. You can also click this little check mark to skip the screen and go straight into HTML. So basically, it'll redirect you from the screen forward to the login if you check that mark. So I'm going to do that. If you've already logged on to single sign-on, it'll automatically log you in. If you're not logged in, then you need to enter your FGCU email and password to log on to the single sign-on. But if you have your email open or something like that, or if you're already logged into Canvas, which I have, as you can see here, then it should bring you right in. And I'm going to go to the faculty lab. You should see several different options here. You should have an engineering lab, probably the easiest way to go. Click on that and it'll log you into the computer. This is actually logging into a physical computer, so just like when you log in the physical lab, it takes a few seconds for it to log in, especially if it's a computer that you haven't been logged into before. It does assign you a physical computer, like I said, so if you're using the same lab multiple times, you're more likely for this process to go slightly quicker. Once this is logged in, the next thing we'll have to do is we'll have to actually start Matlab, and we need to figure out how we're going to move our files back and forth on the system. So the easiest way to start Matlab is you need to go to Apps Anywhere, and it's going to ask you to log into that as well. Just wait a few seconds for that to load. Looks like it opened twice. So here, you guys are going to want to use the FGCU student for your account. I'm going to use FGCU primary because, again, I'm faculty and you guys are students. Then here you just need to give it your username, so you don't need to include your email, the at eagle.fgcu.edu, you just need the username. That's why it has the domain thing here. Then you can type in your password. Try that one more time. Fat fingered. Alright, I don't want to save my password, so I'm going to close that. I'm also going to go ahead and log into Canvas on here so I can get the files. Now, if you already have the files on your computer, say you're doing this as part of your project and not part of the class activity, you don't have to go in through Canvas. You can just load the files directly from your computer onto the virtual lab computer. But if you don't already have the files downloaded, it's probably easier to get them through Canvas directly than it is to download them on your computer and then transfer them to the virtual lab computer. I also recommend here in Apps Anywhere, it's going to ask me to verify this, so I'm just going to have it send me a push real quick. Get that on my phone. And we can approve it. All right, and like I was saying, on here, you want to search through the appropriate application you want to run. So this is alphabetical. So if you want MATLAB, I suggest you click on this little star. That will put MATLAB in your favorites, which makes it easier to find on subsequent times. And if you also want to find other programs that you're likely to use, so for instance, I use the Courses Track Manager. We'll use that later in this class. So you might want to start that one as well. And then you can click on Launch. And again, since it has to basically install the software, or at least portions of the software locally for this to work, it takes it a few, maybe not a few minutes, but at least a minute or two to get that software actually running. As more people use this and more people use MATLAB inside the engineering computers, it's more likely to have those files already locally saved. So it probably get a little bit faster there, but if you're using it at high congestion times and stuff like that, it can take a little bit. So just try to have some patience in getting that to work. Either way, it shouldn't take more than a few minutes. Once I've got that launched, I can go ahead and minimize this window. Then I'm going to go to our Canvas page. I haven't finished publishing this module yet, but I'm going to show this inside the 3D Week 2 VR lesson. And inside this lesson, we're going to use this autofileload.m, which I'm going to download, as well as, oh no, I hit the wrong back function. So I hit back on my browser rather than back on the browser inside the browser. I think there was an option to full screen that, and it did resume me back into my previous session. So that's the nice thing. If it notices that you're logged into a computer and you leave and then come back, it will put you back into the same computer. Although if someone physically resets or turns off that computer, or someone else logs into that computer, it won't let you do that. So if you get disconnected, you can come back in, or if you make a mistake, you can come back in, but don't count on it. So I'm going to have that auto file load. I need to go back inside this smaller window. I was going to see if there's the option for full screening on this. Probably I could full screen from my browser, although I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Then once I've got both those files downloaded, I'm say keep. These .mat files are sometimes flagged as being, you know, hazardous files. I try not to worry about it too much. I like to put all my stuff just in a folder on the desktop because I'm not going to use this computer multiple times, and so just finding it again and quickly is probably easier just to do that. Now when you download things from the browser, it's going to default to the downloads folder on the computer. So I'm able to find these in downloads. So again, there's my walk and the auto file load. I downloaded the auto file load twice. If you do something like that and you get a file with a 1 parenthesis 1 or whatever it is, don't use that version of the file. Use the original version. If you have an old version, you're trying to get a newer version of it and it's got the same name, delete the old version first or rename it so that way it has the appropriate name. If you change the names of files, that can cause issues with Matlab, especially if you have references to other files or multiple files inside your scripts, which is like your programming, right? So now I've got these files inside this Matlab folder, which is where I'm going to be working from. And I'm going to show you guys real quick, if you wanted to get the same thing from files on your computer, you can open this file transfer panel. So again, I'm just clicking on the little knurling here to open up this side panel. Then inside the side panel, there's this file transfer panel option. And this allows you to basically drag and drop files from your home computer into that computer here. So I'm going to go to my desktop, biomechanics, Matlab. And then here I have the same files I just loaded here. I'll drag those over, and it's just going to transfer them, basically uploads them to the computer you're working from. Now, this is a little bit unintuitive because it doesn't really show you where those are going to go, but those are going to go into my documents on the host computer. So if I were to take this, I'm going to minimize that, and then go to documents on this computer, you can see I have this auto file load and walk 001 at 154. So again, those are the ones I just uploaded. Last thing before I actually move to getting started in Matlab here is you want to make sure the directory you're working in Matlab matches the directory that you have your files in. So I'm actually going to change this directory just by using the little menus here to change this to my desktop. And you can also just browse. So I'm going to go to desktop, Matlab, select folder. And then here you can see those two files that I had there. And most of the time, these are the export files. These .mats are exported from the Qualsys system. And the reason we have this auto file load is that it translates those files for us. So I'm going to run that just to show that that's working. And once you've got all this stuff done, it's important to remember that you save your files somewhere, either on like a SharePoint or to Canvas or to your email or to Teams, so you have access to the files after you're done working, because again, you're not guaranteed to get this same computer multiple times. So kind of every time you finish working for a bit, you want to back those up in some way. All right, so that's our overview on how to use the virtual lab. Sometimes you get a little bit of lag using these systems, but for Matlab, it's not that big of a deal. So hopefully everyone will have good luck with that. See you guys again soon.